Hello, level casters. Today, we have a very exciting story for you. It is a story about a big adventure. It is about a journey to the moon. Many years ago, people dreamed of going to the moon. They looked up at the night sky. They saw the bright moon. They wondered, can we go there? This was a very big question. It was a big challenge. But people are very smart. They like to try new things. They like to explore. So, scientists and engineers started to work. They wanted to make this dream real. They worked for many years. They built special machines. These machines were very powerful. They were called rockets. A rocket is a vehicle that flies into space. It uses a lot of power. It goes very fast. They also built a special spacecraft. A spacecraft is a vehicle that travels in space. This spacecraft would carry people. These people were called astronauts. Astronauts are people who travel in space. They train very hard. They learn many things. They learn how to live in space. They learn how to fly the spacecraft. The dream was to land on the moon. This was a very difficult goal. Many things could go wrong. But they kept working. They kept trying. They wanted to be the first. They wanted to show the world. They wanted to show that humans could reach the moon. It was a very big race. Many countries wanted to do it first. This story is about one famous mission. It is about Apollo 11. This mission changed history. It showed what humans can do. It showed that big dreams can come true. We will learn about this amazing journey. We will see how they did it. It is a story of courage. It is a story of teamwork. Get ready for an out-of-this-world adventure. The year was 1969. Many people around the world were watching. They were excited. They were also a little nervous. The Apollo 11 mission was ready. 3 brave astronauts were inside the spacecraft. Their names were Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. Neil Armstrong was the commander. Buzz Aldrin was the lunar module pilot. Michael Collins was the command module pilot. Their journey started on July 16, 1969. A giant rocket called the Saturn V stood on the launch pad. A launch pad is a platform where rockets take off. It was very tall. It was very powerful. The rocket engines started. There was a lot of fire and smoke. The ground shook. The rocket slowly lifted off. It went higher and higher. It went faster and faster. It left Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere is the air around Earth. Soon, they were in space. They were traveling towards the moon. The journey to the moon took 3 days. It was a long trip. The astronauts looked out the window. They saw Earth getting smaller. They saw the moon getting bigger. It was an amazing view. They had to be very careful. Space is dangerous. There is no air. It is very cold. But the spacecraft kept them safe. It had air, food, and water. It was their home in space. They practiced many things. They checked all the systems. They prepared for the most important part. This was the lunar landing. The lunar landing was when the spacecraft would land on the moon. This had never been done before. It was a very big step for humanity. Everyone on Earth was watching. They hoped for success. On July 20, 1969, it was time. The spacecraft reached the moon. 2 astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, entered a smaller vehicle. This vehicle was called the lunar module. The lunar module was a small spacecraft. It was designed to land on the moon. Its name was Eagle. Michael Collins stayed in orbit around the moon. He waited in the main spacecraft. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin began their descent. Descent means moving down. They flew the Eagle towards the moon's surface. It was a very tense moment. They had to land in a safe place. There were many rocks. There were many craters. Craters are big holes on the moon's surface. They were running low on fuel. Fuel is what makes the engine work. They had to find a good spot quickly. Mission Control on Earth was listening. Mission Control is the team on Earth that guides the mission. They were giving instructions. They were checking everything. Finally, Neil Armstrong said, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Everyone cheered. They had done it. They landed safely on the moon. A few hours later, Neil Armstrong opened the hatch. A hatch is a door on a spacecraft. He slowly climbed down a ladder. He stepped onto the moon's surface. He said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." These words are very famous. Buzz Aldrin joined him soon after. They were the first humans on the moon. They walked around. They collected rocks. They put a flag on the moon. They took many pictures. It was an incredible moment. People all over the world watched on TV. It was a day to remember. After about 2.5 hours on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin returned to the lunar module. They took off from the moon. They met Michael Collins in the main spacecraft. Then, they started their journey back to Earth. The trip back was also long. But they were successful. On July 24, 1969, Apollo 11 returned to Earth. The spacecraft landed in the Pacific Ocean. A special ship picked them up. The astronauts were safe. They were heroes. The moon landing was a huge achievement. An achievement is something difficult that you do successfully. It showed what humans can do together. It showed the power of science. It showed the power of engineering. It inspired many people. It made people dream bigger. It changed how we think about space. It opened the door for more space exploration. Space exploration is the discovery and study of space. Many missions followed. We learned more about the moon. We learned more about our solar system. The moon landing was not just a trip. It was a symbol. It was a symbol of hope. It was a symbol of human progress. It showed that with hard work and courage, anything is possible. It was a truly amazing story.
That was an amazing story.
Yes, the moon landing was very exciting.
Who were the astronauts?
Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins.
Neil Armstrong was first on the moon, right?
Yes, he said famous words.
What did he say?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
That's very powerful.
It truly changed history.
What was the rocket called?
It was the Saturn V rocket.
And the lunar module?
It was named Eagle.
How long did the trip take?
It took 3 days to reach the moon.
That's a long journey.
Yes, space travel is difficult.
What did they do on the moon?
They walked, collected rocks, and planted a flag.
It was a big achievement for humans.
I agree. It was a great lesson.
Keep learning, Levelcasters.
Great work today. Keep practicing and see you next time on Levelcast.